Waheshimiwa, you have 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair and Co-Chair, honorable members and Secretariat. I would want to thank you most sincerely for giving us this opportunity. We are almost the last. We believe, as the Bible says, that the last will be the first. Together with me is a group from Kiambu. We are indeed call ourselves Kiambu County Leaders Caucus, comprising of elected and non-elected business people and all kinds of people who have interest of Kiambu at heart. I will not ask the members to introduce themselves, but together with us is Honorable Jude Jombo, whom we know very well was a member of Parliament for Kiambu. We have Honorable George Mara, Honorable Damaris Wambui Weganjo, Honorable Kimani Wanjiko, Honorable Joseph Kalisho, Honorable Shikiru, Honorable Dismas Kamau, Dick Kamau, and Honorable Joyce Gogi. As you can see, the one that gender rule is very well observed in this group. Chair, we are here to make a presentation specifically on the issues pertaining to Kiambu County. Somebody so we are here to discuss about a few issues pertaining to Kiambu County. And I'll start by telling you a bit about this county. As we talk, this county has a population of about 2.7 million people. The census, 2019 population census, gave it a population of 2.4. With the increase of immigration and birth rate, it is now estimated at 2.7. It is the second most populous county in this country after Nairobi. Unlike all the other counties, 60% of the population of this county lives in urban centers. Now, that you can understand the magnitude of the requirements of essential services. As you talk about that county, it is a county that have had its own serious issues, despite the fact that this county is the fifth largest contributor to this country's GDP. And therefore, this committee or this group, this caucus, has sat and said they should get an opportunity to express a few things to you that needs consideration. For our consideration, we have three issues which we shall discuss. And the first one pertains to what we would call marginalization in quote of the county that is so close to Treasury and yet too far in terms of access of resources. This county with a population of 2.7 and having been an outgoing governor, we know very well that the share of revenue has hardly been enough for the population that we are talking about. And forget the fact that almost half of Nairobi population actually lives in Kiambu at night. And therefore, it was brought to our attention, Chair, that there was a proposal of several counties which are in our document, or proposal to make additional several counties, and it is there in our document. But we did not see at all the consideration of Kiambu County, notwithstanding the facts that I have talked about. And therefore, it was of great concern to us, particularly even if you look at per capita income. You know, there is this anomaly that is there about Kiambu, that Kiambu is rich. I can tell you the per capita income of Kiambu is high, but it's not owned by individuals in Kiambu. It is owned by large factories of, I wouldn't want to say who. And therefore, the proportion of absolute poverty in Kiambu is probably higher than some counties where you talk about absolute poverty. And therefore, out of that, Mr. Chair, one of our proposals is the consideration that in the proposal to create counties that Kiambu qualifies, and we are making a proposal that we have 3 counties out of the current Kiambu County. Thika County, comprising of Thika, Juja, and Gatundu North and Gatundu South sub-counties, are highly urbanized. Thika has a population of 290,000, Juja 300,000, Gatundu North 109. Total of that which we were proposing to call Thika County is 817,697, growing at 4% per annum. You can imagine they'll hit 1 million within the next 2 years. The second county we are proposing is Kiambu East County, comprising of existing Kiamba with a population of 236,400, Kiambu Township of a population of 145,903, Githunguri 165,232, Ruiru on itself as a constituency has a population of 371,000 people. That we are proposing to be the Kiambu East County with a total population of 918,646 as per the population census of 2019. The third one we are proposing is Kiambu West, a county comprising of existing Kikuyu with a population of 187, very soon about to hit 200. Kabete with a population of 199, again, very soon wanting to hit 200. Remuru with a population of 159,000. Rari with a population of 135. Total 681, 382. And as you are aware, everybody in Nairobi now is moving towards the area. So the population growth rate there is 4.5%. It will hit a million very soon. So that is our proposal, Chair, in terms of thinking about creating counties, because we saw that was clearly not considered when that proposal was being made. And with that, I would want to pass on to Jude Jomo to talk about the next issue, which is again very, very important, and again it attaches on marginalization of the county as it is.
Thank you, Joint Chairs, for the opportunity. Kiambu County is made up of 12 constituencies, and all of them are heavily populated. Thika has a population of 284,700. Let me round it off to 3 figures. Juja has a population of 300,000. Ruiru has a population of 371. Kiamba has a population of 236. Kiambu has a population of 145,000. Githunguri has a population of 165,000. Gatundu has a population of 122,000. Gatundu North has a population of 109,000. Kikuyu has a population of 187. Kabete has a population of 299. Remuru has a population of 159,000. And Rari has a population of 135,000. Some of the counties that have been doing presentations here have a lesser population than some of our constituencies. What eventually this means is that when the resources are shared, they don't get to our people, or if they do, they get in very small amount that may not necessarily help them. A case in point is bursary. We have seen counties which are able to pay bursaries for their children up to universities, others up to abroad. In our constituencies, it is a common practice to give bursaries of 2,000 shillings. It is some constituencies give even 1,000 as bursary. And this is after more injustice was done to us. I remember when I was in school, I was in a day school. Now that day school was converted into a boarding school. When it was a day school, it was enough for our people who were coming from primary school to go to that particular secondary school. But when it was made into a boarding school, it was converted from a day school to an extra county school. And then there were new regulations called the quota system of education, where that school as an extra county school, which was built by our own funds, in our own land, in our own effort, we could only take 20% of the children from our locality and 80% from other localities. It was not one school that was converted to an extra county school. About 60% of our schools were converted to extra county schools. Others were converted to national schools. So what does this eventually mean? It means that to the schools that we have built, we can only take 20% of our students to those schools. Then comes bursary, because now, with the delocalization also coming, our children are being posted to Kisumu, they are being anywhere in the country. Yet, we do not have money to pay for them. Now they come for bursary, and I give them 1,000 or 3,000 shillings. They cannot afford to get a quality education from the funds that we have. And then we are all going around saying people from Kiambu, the youth are just drinking. They have no alternative but to drink, because they are watching children from other areas come to their constituency, get a good quality education, then they go out there and get good jobs, and they remain without work. They are frustrated. And that is why we are saying we have to correct this injustice. We have to get an equitable share of the national cake. We contribute as Kiambu County, we are number 5 in what we contribute to the GDP. But what we get is not, it cannot be equated to what we give to the national coffers. And when we are asking for this, we are asking so that when we get new constituencies, because we are asking for 7 more constituencies. 1 in Thika, 1 in Juja, 2 in Roiro, 1 in Kiamba, 1 in Kabete, 1 in Kikuyu, and another one to be shared between Kikuyu and Rimuru. We are asking for 7 constituencies. This way, our population will be distributed in a more fair way, and we will be able to, our people will be able to benefit. So, Madam Chair, I think we are not being very, very unfair when we are asking for this. When we compare a population like a county like Kiambu with 145,000, and we are comparing it with a constituency in Kiambu, Roiro, which has 371,000, I think we are just being fair when we ask this for our constituency.
Thank you, Honorable Jude Jomo. Is there anybody with a question?
No, there is a third one, very small one, Chair, if you allow.
2 minutes then.
Honorable Mara, please.
2 minutes, kindly. Give him the mic.
Thank you, co-chairs. We're also putting a case for Kiambu County to be included in the equalization fund. The equalization, the act that sets up the equalization fund, that is the Article 204, Sub 1, and its attendant articles, are very, very, very clear when it comes to matters of the equalization fund. It says, in short, that the national government shall use the equalization fund only to provide for basic services, including water, roads, health facilities, electricity, to marginalized areas to the extent necessary to bring the equality of those services in those areas to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation, so far as is possible. Chair, whereas Kiambu is generally true, it is true generally for Kiambu that many parts of Kiambu are arable and enjoy reasonable access to basic services. This is not true to the whole of Kiambu and the areas that I'll mention here. To be sure, Kiambu has about 500,000 members of its county that are living in abject poverty in areas that qualify to be arid and semi-arid areas, where rainfall is totally insufficient. These people have no cash crop, and indeed, to a very large extent, every other year when there's famine, they are recipients of relief food from the national government. And for this reason, we are asking that we be included in the equalization fund. We feel that the formula that is used for equalization has been based on assumption other than specifics. And we want this to be adjusted so that we can be able to have areas that are critically marginalized to enjoy funds from the equalization. To be specific, we have an area called Larari in Kiambu County. This area has a population of about 80,000 people who are in various parts of this constituency, that is down on the escarpment. I think these are areas that are very familiar to members here, the Kejabi side, and many other areas. We also have areas in Kikuyu, Kikuyu, sometimes people think that is a very rich area, but it also has areas that are very arid, and in fact, they are included or gazetted as part of ASOS, in the ASOS gazettement. And these areas include Karai, Nashu. We also have areas in Limuru that are totally dependent on relief. These are Deia. We also have a very large part in Thika, that is the areas of Goriba, Gatuanyaga, that to a very large extent have suffered from insufficient rainfall and even access to good health facilities, schools, and roads. We also have parts of Juja. A lot of people think that Juja is highly industrialized alongside the Ruiru, but we also have areas in that sections in those areas, which also are ASO, and we'd like to see them included in the equalization fund. To this extent, we believe that this committee will be able to forward our case and bring in a formula that is equitable, that does not base its the equalization fund on assumption, but on specific, so that these areas that are marginalized as far as equalization is concerned, they can be included as well.
Thank you very much. Any questions, clarifications? Looks like the word
to make a
clear.
comment.
Yes.
I actually do agree with you that there's an assumption that there are no poor people in urban areas, including Nairobi, Kiambu, and other places. In fact, I remember when I was in the Senate, I did argue for a very broad-based formula about steppiness to urban poor through the equalization fund development index in some of these areas where probably there's no infrastructure. So we just generalize because we see Honorable Nyoro and others, we think all Kiambu people live the same way.
Thank you very much. Yes, Governor.
Yeah, Chair, I agree, and I'm very, very happy to hear Senator, because these are issues that we have talked about. There's one issue that I wanted to raise, which also pertains to the areas we are talking about, that this committee needs to consider. And it is the area of making the whole of arable land in Kiambu and surrounding areas into a concrete jungle. I think, and I know the Constitution provides for coming up with rules concerning land, but I think if we look at what is going to happen over the next 10 years, if we allow what is going to happen to continue happening, I think it's going to be, we are going to have to drive ourselves to the margin. I think this committee should be able to interrogate and ask itself, what are we going to do in order to reduce arable land to become the concrete jungle? Finally, on the last one, again, having been a governor of a county that is close to Nairobi, I think we have to revisit the issues of Nairobi metropolitan area. Because, Chair, it does not matter how much the governor for Kajiado or governor for Kiambu is going to do to improve health. If the governor of the adjacent county doesn't do that, then everybody else is going to suffer. We used to treat 40% of the population from Nairobi into Kiambu. So again, as an addition to the things that this caucus, and I know they would not be unhappy with me, I just wanted to add those two because it pertains to this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am in total support on the equalization fund because I know Embu County has been left out in that, and yet I have Mbere North, Mbere South that are no different from the Rakanithi or Kitui or Machakos in terms of climatic conditions. So I think there's need to relook at that. No doubt about it. Thank you very much. We've had you. Asanteni. Finally, we have the Nubi community as mentioned by the co-chair. Karibuni.